Peace in Islam. Let us study self, study man, moon day lesson. Sun and moon, we study man, ourselves. And this one we're going to talk about that, getting deeper into the mind, body, and soul, the inner kingdom, outer. Two parables we're going to read from Lil J. So Lil J going to teach this class. Lil J teaches by the sea. He relate the parables of the sower. Tell why he teaches in parables. Explain the parable of the sower. Relates the parable of the wheat and the tares. Talk about all that today. The wheats and the tares. And Lil J, known as Jesus, stood beside the sea and taught. And he been again in the sacred groves. Sacred groves anywhere where you teaching. Your people are teaching, period. The multitudes pressed close upon him, and he went into a boat that was nearby and put a little ways from shore. So you see, always on boats and shit like the more. And then he spoke in parables. He said, "Behold, Eke, a sower took his seeds and went into his field to sow." Now, you know, parables, you gotta pay close attention. We talk about multi-dimensional speech. He will explain that in this. With the lavish hand, he scattered forth the seed, and some fell in the hardened paths that man had made. Hardened paths that man has made, and soon were crushed beneath the feet of other men, and birds came down and carried all those seeds away. Some seeds fell on the rocky ground where there were little soil. They grew, and soon the blades appeared and promised much. But then there was no depth of soil, no chance of nourishment, and in the heat of the noonday sun they were withered up and died. Some seeds where thistles grew, and found no earth in which to grow, and they were lost. But you had other seeds who found lodgment in the rich and tender soil and grew apace. Remember, the soil throw the seeds out. And different seeds lands in different situations in life, right? And in the harvest it was found that some brought forth 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. They who have ears to hear may hear. They who have hearts to understand may know. Now his disciples were beside him in the boat, and Thomas asked, "Oh, why do you speak in parables, sir?" And Lil J said, "My words, like every master's words, are dual in their sense. To you who know the language of the soul," which means who understand parables, maxims, deeper thought in word, in speech, in everything, deeper thought, not just on the surface thinking all the time. People got a deeper thought in things, speaking into that soul. My words have meanings far too deep for other man to comprehend. Practically 1,000 years not going by, a man stole in buildings across the world trying to understand his words. So he ain't lying about that. The other sense of what I say is all the multitude can understand. These words are food for them. The inner thoughts are food for you. So the words feed. He's saying his word feeds the multitude. But the masterminds, that's the food for the masterminds and for the people. And he will explain that even further. Let's continue. Let everyone reach forth and take the food that he is ready to receive. People learn things on their own time, right? And then he spoke that all might hear. He said, "Hear you the meaning of the parable." So you have to explain another way. The same thing he just explained with the sword and the seed. The mastermind can take that story and get this and many other things out there. He about to give you one explanation of that, and so they can understand. This, he said, "Man, hear my words and understand them not." And then the carnal self purloins the seed, and not a sign of spirit appears. Every life starts as a seed of unlimited potential, and we nurture that seed through learning things. And what he's saying is some man refuse to take heed of everything around him to learn. Hence, the carnal self, the body, purloins the seed, and not a sign of spirit life appears. This is the seed that fell within the beaten paths of man. And the other hears the word of life, and with the fiery zeal receive them all. They seem to comprehend in truth and promise well. But trouble comes, discouragement arise. There is no depth of thought. Their good intentions wither up and die. These are the seeds that fell in the stony ground. So the first group of seeds that fell on the beaten path, they ain't listening to nobody. They running through life amok. No thought, no thinking, no nothing. They dead in the spirit. The second group, they land in thistles or in the stony ground, and they hear the words, get a fiery zeal, comprehend the truth, but they easily swayed and they easily manipulated by outside forces and discourage them. When they got no depth in thought, and they got good intentions, but they also wither up and die, those seeds. And others hear the word of truth and seem to know their worth by love of pleasure, reputation, wealth, and fame. That's still the truth to this day, right? For all the soil, the seeds are nourished not, and they are lost. These are the seeds that fell among the thistles and the thorns. So we are now going through 4 groups of how humanity is already studying man itself, which include us and you and me, because we man. And these are the things that we always, no matter what generation we in, what time period we in, these things hold true. And a lot of seeds land in the thistles and thorns, because people will take their wisdom and what they know to be right and wrong and blind themselves for these 4 things like it's nothing, killing each other behind those things, showing you that they land in the thistles, right? Been good people, but those spirits take even good people. So let's continue. But others hear the word of truth and comprehend them well. They sink down deep into their souls, right? They live the holy life, and all the world is blessed. These are the seed that fell into fertile soil, that brought forth fruit abundantly. They grow well, and the fruit sweet, bear great fruit. They sow good seeds throughout their life, and they reap the fruit. The world reap the fruit of a good person, right? Because that person ain't harming others and doing things to others. So the world is blessed from that tree. The tree Metaphysically, you talk about man, but the tree physically bear fruit for man to eat, shades for man to sit under when he hot, birds to lay in nest. He gonna talk about all that. And the same with man. We all connected. Those the seeds that fell in the fertile soil and grew abundantly. You men of Galilee, in our case the Galilee, southeastern, take heed to how you hear and how you cultivate your fields, your mind and hearts. For if you slight the offers of this day, the sword may not come to you again in this or in the age to come. Then Lord J spoke another parable. He said, let's pause this before we get into this one. Okay, let us continue studying self. So we were even to the next parable. Lord J still speaking another parable. He said, the kingdom I may liken to a field in which man sowed precious seed. So you can connect this to the inner and outer kingdoms. There ain't no such thing as an earthly king without that king understanding us. Because it's the heavenly mandate that we all get from birth. All these seeds always get potential. They got the same potential. It depends on the nurturing. That's why the mother is the important. That's her job, to nurture man and woman, right? Sons and daughters. Also, she the queen, right? The mother of a nation. Those people as her children. So you don't see her scorning and having any problems with her children. Even if the children have problems with her, she treat everything in that system. That's why she fit to be queen. Same with king, he the father of a nation. So he gotta keep that understanding. And that's what he been teaching the boys too. And they've been going around creating kingdoms on earth as it is in heaven, right? The land of God. That's why the name's been like Morocco, because that's the land of God. And they've been doing them the correct way, from in with to without. And you see so much of them with crowns on them old pictures. You see a lot of on America, especially, everybody had a crown, because everybody understands this. The crown just the representation of the inner crown, which we see on the painting. So they got the halo. It's the representation of an inner. It's not for show. You don't got the outside first. Alright, I just going that little rant so I can scratch this out till like an hour. Still probably ain't gonna get there. But anyway, but while he slept, an evil one went forth and sowed a measure full of darnel seeds, then went his way. So the kingdom, we liken into a field in which man sows precious seeds. So you can liken your inner soul into that. I usually use a palace, which I fortify, and I put furniture in, and I put things in. That's how I liken this inner soul he about to talk about. Right, up to you how you want to liken it inside yourself. The soil was good, and so the wheat and darnel grew. And when the servants, so you see, the soil grew wheat, so-called quote-unquote good men, and darnel, quote-unquote bad men. And when the servants saw the tares from the wheat, they found the owner of the field and said, you surely sow good seeds. From whence these tares? From where these tares come from? The owner said, some evil one has sown the seed of the tares. That's life, right? You got good and bad. So he about to show you how to see that and understand that. Why is that so? Why would God make that so, right? The servant said, shall we go out and pull up the roots from the tares and burn them in the fire? The owner said, no, that would not be well. The wheats and tares grow close together in the soil. While you pull the tares, you will destroy the wheat. What he's saying is, if we decide to go out there and say, let's kill all bad men, everybody gonna die, right? Because that's an opinion. Somebody might think you're one of the bad men who gotta go, just because you do something they don't quote unquote like. So it's an illusion, really. So the both gonna grow in that soil, but we don't go out and burn all the tares. But we're gonna show you what happens automatically. Let the owner teach. So we will let them grow together until the harvest time, which is until let time tell. Then to the reapers I will say, and these the holy ones. People think he come to save the world. No, he come to burn the world. And say and save the world. Say, then to the reapers I will say, go forth and gather up the tares and bind them up. Remember, we can bind it and burn them in the fire, and gather all the wheat into the barns. When he had spoken thus, he left the boat and went up to the house, and his disciples followed him. So just to leave them boy hanging. We're going to explain it again. The apostles were in front of his house, and Peter said to Jesus, Lord, will you explain to us the meaning of the parable you spoke today? The one about the wheat and tares, especially. You can talk about both of them because it connects. And Jesus said, God's kingdom is a duality. It has an outer and inner form. As seen by a man, it is composed of men, of those who make confessions of the name of the Messiah. For various reasons, various people crowd the outer kingdom of God. And that's celebrity worship, anything worship, money worship, things that you put over the truth, the falsehoods that you think is real. Various people crowd around that kingdom, quote unquote. The inner kingdom is the kingdom of the soul, the kingdom of the pure in heart, the ones who do right, not for the sake of people saying them do right. Oh, look, you're doing right. No, because that's how we should live. If we want to do wrong, we can't be telling the children that they don't lie or don't steal, or then we adults and we doing that and then trying to justify that. No, that's hypocrisy to the children. No. The pure in heart, that's the kingdom of the pure in heart. The outer kingdom I may well explain in parables. Behold, for I have seen you cast a great net out into the sea, and when you hauled it in, lo, it was full of every kind of fish, some good, some bad, some great, some small. And these are how different people cultivate themselves. And I have seen you save the good and throw away the bad. The outer kingdom is the net, and every kind of man is caught. But in the sorting day, the bad will be cast away, the good reserved. And that's why I always say, just keep your conscience clear. I pretty much can guarantee you, you will always be alright. the karma work perfectly. She go after exactly who she needs to go after, because you fill your cups. You only get what you put in the cup. If the cup empty, you can't get nothing out the cup. If you put water in the cup, you can only get water out the cup. Unless you can turn the water into wine, positives into negatives and stuff like that, on that level. But at the end of the day, most people get what they put out. The good gonna be reserved. Here then the meaning of the parable of the wheat and tares. The sower is the sight of man, the field, the world. The good seed are the children of the light, the tares, the children of the dark. The enemy, the carnal self, which is the children of the dark, that's the enemy, which is our carnal self. The children of the light is us, the same people, which is the knowledge and love within everyone else. Outside the body, those ways that our thoughts that we cultivate. The harvest day, the closing of the age, right? Everybody gonna have their day. The reapers are the messengers of God, which is everybody. Everybody give people advice, and that's right there. That's a messenger. That's the reaper. Come to give that person advice. I try to just make it more modern. He trying to make it modern 8 times for them. The reckoning day will come to every man. Every man will pay for every debt, good or bad. So sow good seeds. That's all we saying. Then will the tares be gathered up and cast into the fire and be burned. Then will the good shine forth as sons in the kingdom of the soul. And Philip said, must man and woman suffer in the flames because they have not found the way of life? And Jesus said, the fire purifies. So he been feeling sorry for the bad seeds who end up in the fires at the end. But the fire purifies. The chemist throws into the fire the ores that holds all kinds of dross. The useless metal seems to be consumed, but not a grain of gold is lost. So the inner light, what's good, that light, and within even the worst of man, don't never die. Even if that person go to death row and die for their sins or whatever on earth, that inner light that was in them don't die. It was what he's saying. So don't fret. There is no man that has not in him gold that cannot be destroyed. The evil things of man are all consumed in fire. The gold survives. The inner kingdom of the soul I may explain in parables. The sight of man goes forth and scatters seeds of truth. Right, like you were saying earlier, everybody go around giving advice, scattering truth, knowledge around. That's the light that helps the light grow, right? Because the older you get, the more you see with your senses, and smelling and hearing with your senses, and that in your brain creating growth because you learning more, and I become wisdom, experience over time, which is growth. Seeds grow into a tree. You don't just have a seed one day, then the next day you got a big redwood tree. It grows incrementally as experience dwells. The seeds of truth. God waters well the soil. The seeds show life. The seeds show life and grow. First come the blade, and then the stalk, and then the ear, and then the full wheat in the ear. Like corn in the West, we used that parable. We had the corn god ale, and that parable is the same thing right there. The harvest come, and lo, the reapers bear the ripened sheaves into the garner of the Lord. Again, the kingdom of the soul is like a little seed that man may plant in fertile soil. Fertile soil is a mother or a woman who gonna mold this child character into a good person, right? Give them all the lessons they need of life. Again, this kingdom of the soil is like a seed that man may plant in the fertile soil. 1,000 of these seeds would scarcely be shekel weight. The tiny seeds begin to grow. It pushes through the earth, and after years of growth, it is a mighty tree, and birds rest in its lowery boughs, and man find refuge neath its sheltering boughs from sun and storm. So, the tree serving its purpose is a cycle of life. Everybody serving a purpose to evolve the entire system of life, which we're dealing with now with God things. We're talking about all living things and the cycles, how it works together. What he explaining a lot is a lot of metaphysics, and it's like studying the Big Bang and how everything is everything. Literally, that's God. That's studying God itself. When you study into that, was how things is. Again, the truth, the spirit of the kingdom of the soul is like a ball of living that a womanhood and measures 3 of flour, and in a little time the whole was leavened. Like you're saying, like the mother, she begins that growth. Other things, once that child start to use his senses more, gonna help in the growth, right? The child wanna go out and listen to other people speak, hear other things, and that could be creating that child character, how to grow the growth. Again, the kingdom of the soul is like a treasure hidden in a field, which has found, and straightway goes his way and sells all that he has and buys the field. When Jesus had thus said, he went along into a mountain pass nearby to pray. That's the end of this one. And this really goes to show how kings and queens, how they look at the people. They look at them as the wheats and the tares, and they know the inner light within each man, and that's what they speak to most of the time. That's what they call benevolence. They can show benevolence to even the ones who we put in the light of bad. We know what bad acts is. So even when people commit them, they show benevolence. They got the fortitude to do it. And one who can't, they cannot be judged, and they cannot be mother and father of a nation, sons of man, and sons of God. And easy, a good way to think of, to help move with this understanding is to always put yourself in other people's shoes. When you do that, you just be like, okay, if I curse this person out, try to hurt this person's feelings, well, I want somebody to say that to me. And unless you a person who loves pain, you would always do the right thing before you. If you do that a lot, put yourself in other people's shoes, and you damn sure wouldn't strike a person because you don't want nobody to strike you. But even when it comes to thoughts and words, ask yourself if that's would that be nice, would that be good. When you put yourself in a position and then make that decision to strike that person in your head through thought or through word or actually doing it. Definitely better think twice before actually doing it. Because the manifestation of karma will come back quicker when you do it in the manifestation when you actually do the striking. Karma still come back in the thought. People don't think that if you're thinking bad thoughts about a person, again, which is yourself, because we are connected, you people gonna do the same to you, gonna strike you in their head. It might don't manifest as words and thoughts, but that's what will happen. But you take it to words, then it gonna come back to words to you. So don't cry, and it definitely gonna come back to you if you do it with actual physical harmony. And also, you can see the same with good thoughts, deeds, and words. You'll get that back too. So go out there, sow good seeds, and we'll see you on another sun or moon day. Peace.